with a concentration in global environmental politics. Rebecca is graduating with a double major and will be receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies as well. Rebecca is a remarkable young woman. She was recently awarded the University Medal. The University Medal was established in 1871 by Henry Huntley Haight, then Governor of California, to recognize the most distinguished graduating senior at the University of California campus. As an aside, I will note that Rebecca is the second university medalist from CNR in a period of 3 years. As UC Berkeley's top graduating senior, Rebecca also addressed the rest of her class yesterday at the campus commencement convocation. Rebecca arrived on the Berkeley campus in fall 2011 as a junior transfer from Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, where she had been majoring in environmental science and engineering. In her relatively short period at Berkeley, Rebecca has accomplished an amazing amount. She did not wait until she graduated to have an impact on the good of society. While an undergraduate in CNR, Rebecca founded and directed the Pacamaw Project, a partnership among NGOs to augment water access in 12 rural schools in Bolivia. This project impacted girls in neglected primary and secondary schools without access to adequate water, sanitation, or hygiene. Rebecca led the Berkeley Water Group, a student-run think tank on global water, health, hygiene, and sanitation issues, and founded a decal course on water and human rights that she taught for 5 semesters. In recognition of her accomplishments, Rebecca has been awarded an array of honors, including recognition as a Udall Scholar, a Strauss Scholar, and a Berkeley Law Human Rights Center Fellow. As a Truman Scholar, she will spend this summer working with the World Bank in Washington, D.C. Rebecca is preparing for her graduate program in England as a Marshall Scholar, where she will study water science policy and management at Oxford and poverty and development at Manchester. After completing her master's program in England, Rebecca hopes to return to Berkeley for a doctoral program. It is now my pleasure to introduce our student commencement speaker, Rebecca Peters.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. Quite an introduction. Growing up in the progressive corridors of Los Angeles, I witnessed the ways that cooperative natural resources management could positively empower people to engage with community decision-making processes through my participation in local stream restoration events and later acting as a student liaison on the Environmental Commission of my city council. Collaborating with my community over water resources management resonated with me on a personal level, and I plan to dedicate my career to restoring waterways as an environmental scientist. However, during my second year of college at Cal Poly, I went to Guatemala to develop water treatment projects with a rural community as part of an appropriate technology course. While I saw the improved health outcomes that clean drinking water could deliver through conversations with community members, I also learned that science alone would not be enough to comprehensively address the complex social and political barriers faced by the 2 billion people without access to safe water and sanitation. I applied to transfer to CNR as a Society and Environment major to seek an education that would better prepare me to confront the lingering questions I encountered while in Guatemala, including how I might acquire the skills necessary to inspire broader social change and understand environmental justice. I quickly felt at home within CNR. As one of the original colleges with the establishment of the university, CNR serves both its students and society by creating and contributing to knowledge and practice across biological, physical, and social sciences to ensure both economic and ecological sustainability, forestry, conservation, environmental policy, biology, plant genetics, and resource economics all find their home within our college. And it's only in the pursuit of such interdisciplinary academic rigor and sound environmental decision-making through these programs of study that new possibilities of positive social transformation can be forged. Our courses of study have allowed us to exceed the single discipline approach that predominates at many other institutions, Stanford, demonstrating why crossing such artificial boundaries is worthy of scholarly effort to create future generations of critically engaged thinkers, dreamers, and doers who are both aware of the problems we face and well-equipped to deal with them as a result of our rigorous programs of study. Our programs here in CNR are each profoundly aspirational because they encourage us to ask big questions. What is environmental justice? What will the world look like in 100 years? Who is the earth for? What is the responsibility of our scholarship? Such questions require us to imagine the world and the self not as they are, but as they could be. My personal aspirations when I transferred to Berkeley were initially much more tempered, shaped by the limited technical approach of my academic training. While academic disciplines can teach us to make sense of our experiences and to categorize our knowledge into comprehensible boxes, such disciplining also creates limiting boundaries, and these boundaries have significant effects on the ways we understand our roles as students, scholars, and people. My interdisciplinary courses here at CNR quickly transformed the narrow scope of my approach to understanding water issues from a purely scientific perspective to a broad unraveling of the political and social forces at work that inform who gets access to water and who does not. While the courses of CNR have taught us the importance of critical theory, we've also learned that being armchair academics or weekend activists is not sufficient to address complex social and environmental problems. As Berkeley students, I believe that the mandate of our public education is to engage the global community and strive to do our work for the benefit of others. Our research and fieldwork demands engagement with contradiction and discomfort. Such applied scholarship is crucial to keep us embedded in the interactions that constitute meaningful relationships, improve public health, and community building while informing the abstract theories behind the chemical, biological, and environmental processes that we will shape in the future. However, we must remain self-reflective about our privileged positions as scientists, advocates, academics, and public service leaders. The spirit of the free speech movement and the lasting student engagement concerned with holding our institution, our government, and each other accountable to the principles of environmental justice firmly established the social conscience of Berkeley and CNR and bestowed us with a distinct institutional personality. Such engagement indicated how young scholars like us could speak back to our disciplines and became a historical conjuncture requiring us to reconsider the traditional academic disciplines through which environmental expertise is manufactured. Student movements, often connected in networks of transnational solidarity, fall somewhere between practices of dissent and hopes for a differently imagined future. Continuing these movements of solidarity in light of persistent austerity, pervasive environmental injustice, and denial of good science will be required of us going forward in the face of daunting external forces threatening the public character of this university that we hold so dearly. I would like to return to a question I posed earlier that I believe we will encounter in our post-CNR lives and careers. What is environmental justice? The Environmental Protection Agency defines it as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or economic status with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. The adoption of such language in regulatory institutions is a good first step. But when I work in the Salinas Valley and I see low-income communities of color, predominantly migrant farm workers consuming water with nitrate in it, I remember that environmental justice is not something that happens elsewhere, like in Guatemala. It's here in our backyard in California. And I know that we still have a long way to go. Nitrates are colorless, odorless, and tasteless, the byproduct of heavy fertilizers applied in the fields that produce our food and make California one of the most important agriculture-producing regions in the world. Nitrates cause blue baby syndrome by disabling hemoglobin and preventing oxygen from effectively traveling through the bloodstream, resulting in the death of susceptible infants. A paper produced by Professors Balzas, Morello, Frosch, and Isha Ray here in the College of Natural Resources found significant social disparities in the Central Valley, namely that Latino communities are disproportionately impacted by nitrate contamination. This is an environmental justice issue that can only be confronted by meaningful engagement from people like us, with the skills, the passion, and the vision to know that such inequities are not normal, but rather socially produced. Because it's only in... because it is only through novel combinations of disciplines at a university like Berkeley and in a college like ours that such radical possibilities of transformation can be forged. Recognizing the profound, yet not insurmountable, gulf between ourselves and those we serve going forward should solidify our commitment to dedicating our post-Berkeley life to continuing the legacy of engagement of our predecessors and not be discouraged by the huge challenges ahead. I'm deeply thankful for the opportunities afforded to me as a student in CNR, and I'm looking to the future with eyes that are humble and eager to confront the greatest environmental challenges of our time. I feel incredibly lucky to graduate from a college of peers with hope in their hearts, social change in their veins, and justice in their eyes. To the class of 2014, thank you, and go Bears!
Thank you, Rebecca.